Hey, book lovers, welcome back to another episode of the Book Lovers Club. And y'all, it is a special episode because I have a guest here with me. And y'all, we've already been kikiing offline. And look, save that. Let me press record because they need to hear this. But I am joined today by author Aunt Georgia Lee. And I am just so excited to have you in the studio with me. Like I said, y'all, we've already been vibing, and I need to share these vibes with y'all. So, before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about you as an author to kind of kick off the conversation?
Yeah, I'm very controversial. I'm scandalous.
That's a way to open up.
I have stories to share with you about how scandalous I am and controversial
Ooh,
I am.
yes.
But I am definitely a seasoned sister who enjoys writing Black sapphic stories. You know, you talk about representation, and that's
Mhm.
so important. That's at the forefront of my writing. I love to talk about found families. Friends to lovers is one of the tropes, age gap romance. And I've been writing for God for over 20 some years. When I first started, it was with this first little book that I printed through, a small print press called I can't even remember Ingram's not Ingram Sparks, but it was, Lightning Source. Maybe, maybe not. Y'all forgive. This is fancy time, okay? We're
Well,
gonna
you
get
said it's been 20 years. We
it's
got
been
you.
20
We're
for
not
my
gonna judge you. Yeah.
but anyway, so it was a small print press. I wrote it, had an editor, which actually is I always wanna give her credit, Fiona Zed, the author, but at
Wow.
yes, ma'am. See, we're out of Atlanta here, and at the
Okay.
time, Fiona was working at Kara's Circle or Kara's Books& and More, and, I was so shy to try to reach out to her to get her to do it. I was such an introvert at that time. I was in my 30s, and, my girlfriend at the time was very much so extrovert. So she went up to her, and we were able to work with her as my editor. And now look at how she has grown in her
Yes.
own writing experience as well. But anyway, so A Deeper Love was the book that I wrote. And then a couple of years later, I decided to write another book, and then I thought, well, what about all these other indie writers or new writers like myself? I want to be able to help them. And I'm telling this long story because at the forefront of my writing too is always giving back to the community,
Yes.
always trying to bridge those gaps, right? And so I ended up editing with my partner who I've been with for 20 some odd years, an anthology of 25, 27 writers in a Black lesbian anthology because I wanted those new voices to be heard. So we did that. And then I dropped off the scene and I was gone for a good 15 years before I came back. So recently I've been back under a new pen name, Aunt Georgia Lee, and several other pen names. But that's kind of the history of who I am as an author.
Look, I'm glad you back because we need these stories. Okay, I'm reading your book right now, Ain't Too Old to Grind. And I'm like, finally, someone in my age bracket. Okay.
Girl,
Look,
what are you like 25, 30? Like you
thank
my
you.
niece?
Thank you. I just turned 40.
Oh, girl, you look good. That's
Thank you. Thank
nothing
you.
wrong with 40.
That's what I'm saying. Black don't crack. So
But
in one of my earlier episodes, I mentioned like one of my students has been calling me granny. And I'm just,
no,
yes, has been humbling me, humbling me.
no.
Yes, yes. But that's
What?
why your book is just so needed because I feel
Mhm.
so seen reading it. You know, even
Oh,
with the age gap, it's
mhm.
an older age gap. It's not problematic. These are grown ass women.
Yeah,
Okay. You know? So
yeah, yeah.
tell us a little bit about the book. What can people expect? I don't want to give too much away, but I'm enjoying it, y'all.
Oh, good, good, good.
Yes.
Well, this is the second one that I've decided to write about main characters that are mature, 40 and over, and with Cleopatra Jones being,
Mhm,
55, and then her love interest being 35, of course, that age gap.
mhm.
But before that, few years before that, I wrote, Old School Loving, which is a 60-year-old woman trying to get her groove back. Her wife is deceased, and she wants to get back out there, but, she's afraid, right? And I was also going through that same feeling of, "Am I too old?" Right? Should I even write this? This is kinda depressing for me being in my early 50s and feeling like life is just passing me by. But yet it was a part of a series, The Real Lesbians of Atlanta, and it was time for me to write this book, and I'm like, "Jesus, I'm not gonna be able to give anybody any inspiration if I'm sitting over here like, I'm so old."
I understand.
And I
Mhm.
hadn't even gone through menopause yet, so I'm going through menopause right now. Imagine how I felt going through perimenopause at
Yeah.
that time frame. But then I started seeing a lot of women on social media. All these older women, they were living their lives. They were 50, 55, all the way up to 80. They were bench pressing, they were doing strength training, they were eating a vegan lifestyle. They were beautiful Black women. And here I was sitting here griping about being 52 at the time.
Mhm.
And when I started seeing that, I started, pivoting, like reinventing myself, like eating better, starting to work out and really believing that we aren't too old to grind. And that,
Yes.
like you said, black don't crack. So it gave more inspiration and life into that story. And I just started creating this opportunity for Yvette to get out there and experience 5 different women of 5 age ranges as well on a dating site. So that's how it all started with that.
Mm.
And then I went into another book called They Call Me Dr. Feelgood, which is about a woman who is HIV positive, who is getting her life back and getting into a relationship. But while I was doing that, I was talking to a friend. I was like, "Yeah, I wrote Old School Lovin'. That turned out to be, pretty good." And she was like, "Oh, you know what? You should write a story called Ain't Too Old to Grind." Because we're all in the
Yes.
same age range. And she was like, "We need more mature stories. What about our lives? We're not dead because 'cause we're 45
Exactly.
or so." And I was like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, okay. I'll write that book." And I love book covers. So I got this guy, Sheer Genius from Fiverr, to create the book cover. I brought it to make sure I was gonna have it for you. And
Perfect.
I fell in
I
love
love it.
I fell in love with what he did. I was like, "Yes,
Yes.
ain't too old to cry."
Yes.
But I wasn't prepared to write it until this year. So that's how it came about. My partner and I are vegan, so I wanted to make her a vegan chef. I wanted to talk about how there is ageism, right? When you're in the movie industry as well as models and stuff. As soon as you get 25, it's like, "Oh, aren't you getting wrinkles? You're too
Exactly.
old." They're 25 years old, you
Yep.
know? And so I wanted to talk about that from both, Destiny's point of view as a 35-year-old that's heading towards being pushed out of the modeling industry, and then a former model, her being 55 as Cleopatra Jones. So that's how I came about this
I
book.
love it. Look, I'm like, I want some barbecue jackfruit.
Yes! Girl, jackfruit is good.
It is, it
Yes.
is. The way you were writing about food in the book and describing it, I'm like, "Oh my god, I want this restaurant to be real. Where
Yeah.
can I go?" Like, look, the vibes with the elders, like, in the kitchen, I could just see it. Just
Oh, good.
yes, yes,
Good,
such
I'm
a vibe. Yeah, I want that barbecue jackfruit, though. The burnt
Mhm.
ends, like, I'm like, "Ooh, the way he talking about that I need me a plate." Look, you did your big one, okay? Yes.
Well, good, I'm glad. I love to eat. So I spent a lot of time talking about food in a lot of my books, and before I became vegan, you
Mhm.
would see that in previous books too. They're like, "God, you make me hungry." I'm like, "I know, because I love to eat, girl."
Look, the way you describing this food, I understand. I'm like, "Is she a chef for real?" I'm like, "Where you pulling this from personal experience the way you got this in this book?"
We
Yeah.
do, I mean, we burn in the kitchen now, but my
Okay.
my partner is better. Now, peep this out really quickly. She's gonna kill me knowing me. Like, "Why you gotta bring that up?" When I met her, she did not wanna cook. She had me cooking, and I remember I would come over, trying to, like, date her and
Mhm.
everything and impress her. I would cook, and one day I was like, "Oh," she's like, "Are you cooking?" I'm like, "No, I don't." But once I thought we could have, like, sandwiches or something. Sandwiches? And so it took a long time before she actually started to cook, and might I say, she is way better of a cook than I am, but it took 20 some odd years to get her in that kitchen.
So that's inspiring because that's my wife and I. She
Mhm.
the cook, and I don't do none of that,
All
but
good.
she shows love through cooking, and I wanna
Yeah,
reciprocate.
yeah.
So I got some recipes on deck that I'm about to learn so I
Good,
could
good.
reciprocate. But that
Yeah.
gives me inspiration that your wife now has surpassed you because, maybe that'll
Yes,
be me one day.
yes, she is way better
Wow.
way better. And I'm like, "What happened?" But, when you stop, it's all about practice makes perfect,
Yeah.
right? And when you stop doing it, and I'm so busy all the time, I mean, I'm blessed to have her being able to do that. I mean, other things, but yeah, her cooking is much better than mine.
Yeah. Look, I be at work bragging because I take, like, leftovers, and they be like, "What you got today?" "Oh, my wife made this."
Yeah, yeah, that's what I used to that's what she
Yeah.
used to do. Now I'm like, "No, she's cooking."
So this gives me inspiration. Maybe that'll be me one day. I don't know.
There
She
you
set
go.
the bar really high. Like, she can
Mhm.
really cook, like, really cook.
What's your favorite meal from her? Or favorite dish?
Ooh, my favorite dish, it's
Yeah.
actually dessert.
Ooh,
Her
I like
peach
dessert too.
cobbler,
Uh-huh.
we're starting to get requests. So, like, with the holidays
Really?
approaching, yeah, people have been reaching out asking for her
Okay.
cobbler. Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, and she make everything from scratch. I have so many
Mhm,
favorites. She made a
mhm.
Hennessy peach cobbler pound cake one time.
And so
And
you're in Chicago?
yes, that's what I'm saying. She could throw down. Yes. She can cook. She can cook.
Oh, that's
I've
good.
lucked up, and she like to feed me. So I be in here spoiled.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is a blessing. That's
It
good. That's
really is, it really is. That's what I'm saying, your book, I'm like, "Can you learn how to make this?" Like, what
yeah.
we gotta do? I need this barbecue jackfruit.
Mhm,
Sounds
mhm.
so good.
Oh,
So
good, I'm glad.
yes. Well, you talked about ageism. Have you
Mhm.
experienced any of that being an author?
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Wait, let me think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I came back, I'm thinking a lot of things I didn't have to change. I just assumed that, oh, I'll come back in a different under a different pen name, and it should be very simple to get out here. But things have changed. Amazon has opened the doors to so many different writers, right?
Yeah.
Deals and stories. And so I'm very old school. Like I'm more of a women's fiction writer. Maybe you can tell that from the book that you're reading. It's not your traditional what we're used to, right, in our community, and that's no tea, no shade to anybody. It's just I grew up with Toni Morrison and authors like that, and so it tends to lean towards that type of fiction, and your auntie is out here thinking she's an auntie, but I've been told recently on social media, my age range, we supposed to be Thundercats. What the hell is a Thundercat?
Oh, I didn't know that. Wait, so what's the auntie age?
Do
Did
you
they
know
say?
auntie is in 30s? That's a
That's
auntie.
wild.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow, that's wild.
But with all that said, so, I came back, thinking, well, I could mentor people as well, and the younger generation, like, "I don't need your mentoring, you need to learn from us," and I do. I've had to learn how to promote and, the whole social media aspect of it. It's not the way it used to be. Even book clubs are very different. So, yeah, I felt my age definitely coming back, but I'm the type of person that, I've been an introvert, but I'm a by any means necessary. And if I have to promote, if I have to get out here, if I have to dance on camera, my partner and I, we used to dance last year and stuff. We did a lot of things that weren't necessarily in our comfort zone to do. But I do feel the age because the stories that to me seem to be the most popular are stories that are younger
Yes.
and not women's fiction that are full of a lot of sex, and though I enjoy writing sex, the that's not the most important aspect of my book. So, going back to your podcast when you talked about that, like, I love the dirty talk, I love the romance, I love,
Mhm.
getting to know each other and the tension, but that comes from my background in reading Harlequin romance. It's always in the middle of the book as a formula is where you have the sex, but everything else in the beginning, it's all that
Yes.
tension and back and forth, and I absolutely love that. So yeah, I feel the difference in the age, and most people, even my age or older, they wanna read, characters that are 25 and 30, even at 60, and I'm like, "Why? Why would you wanna read 25 years and 35-year-olds? You're not gonna get younger, you're just getting older." And you
That's
need to
facts.
believe that you can find somebody, you know?
Yeah. That's why I think your books are needed in this space because, like you said, there's a community of people that are craving younger female
Mhm,
leads, but there are people like me who want them older.
mhm,
And I think, like your book, like you mentioned, it's a older style of
mhm.
writing that I
Yes.
feel like we're missing. That's what I'm missing. That's why it's just so refreshing reading your book. I'm like, finally, this is what I've been talking about.
Mhm,
Just know that there's a space and there's a lane We just gotta help, amplify your work so that you can get in contact with the people who really are craving what you're writing because it's a community of us out here that really want this, that have been
Mhm,
missing it.
mhm,
And that's what I've been talking about on my podcast. It's a lane for everybody. Even just like the way that your mind works, how we were talking about how one of the characters in your book has an album. So
mhm.
you know how people are dropping playlists for their books. You said, "No, Imma go ahead and write some original music."
Yeah.
Y'all, the album is so good. I just wanted to make sure I told y'all that because we were talking about this before I got online. The album is so good. I've downloaded it. My wife and I have been listening to it. Roxana,
Yes.
yes. Please talk to them about this, the process, all of it, because I was surprised. Like, it's nothing but bops.
I love book covers. I know, and I'm gonna be upfront, this is an AI cover. I know there's controversy behind that. But I have a graphic designer that created these, covers, and I was just like, "It's pre-made covers." I love them. I bought them, and my mind works like this. When I decide to write a book, I look at the imagery that I see, and I'm like, "What is this about?" We have the 2, the first one came out, before that, and I'm like, this is a gospel singer, right? She's a contemporary gospel singer, and she's had a scandal. She's been under the cover about her sexuality, and then she has this situation, and now she has to redeem herself. So she's in New York, she has to come back to Atlanta, and she comes back to an old love who happens to be a minister, a woman who is openly out about her sexuality. And then you have Roxana, well, she looks like an R&B artist, right? And so she has a drug addiction. She's an alcoholic, but she has mommy issues and things of that nature. So she has to go to rehab. And when she goes to rehab, she runs into Dr. Naomi Wright, who's
Mm,
just right for her, who is her therapist. And there's a romance between them as well. And then you have Diamond Stud, which is coming out next year, who's a hip hop artist, Gen Z, 25-year-old, who has, she's a bad boy trying to turn into a good girl. Well, in Kiss and Tell, she becomes this good girl through Layla Joy. But now we're going back to when she was a kid. And
mm.
so, long story long is the musicians, why wouldn't they have their own music?
Yes.
Time I was blessed, I really was. I was working for a corporate job where I was not doing a lot of work because I have a lot of work, but I got paid a lot of money. And in doing that, I wanted to make this more authentic. I want you to hear their music, not just a playlist that, oh, these artists sound like them, but what do they sound like, right?
Yeah.
And so I just initially started off saying one song for each book. And I had to find these different artists. I had been working with artists on Fiverr, but we had to do a search. And we finally found somebody for Diamond Stud, which at first I was like, no, I don't want to use her. She doesn't sound right. And I even wrote the lyrics for her. I was like, well, do these lyrics. Now I'm telling the singer-songwriter, the author who has never written a stitch of lyrics in her life, no, read my lyrics. I was even rapping in the car one baby, baby. I called my partner from the chiropractor. I said to the car, "Oh, listen to this." And then I was just going off. She was like, "Oh, oh, okay." And it's great.
You should have recorded that. I would have loved to see it, okay?
We said we were gonna do it in a skit and say,
Mhm.
"This is when an author thinks she can write rap music," and then show the stitch where the actual hip hop artist did it. But anyway, she tried. It was horrible, and she was like, "Do you mind?" The lady was really humble. She was like, "Do you mind if I try to do it on my own? Just take your concept." It was beautiful. We did one song, and I was like, "Oh, can you do another one? Can you do another one?" By then I had found this website called BeatStars. I love their beats, and so that's how we got started. And then with
Mm.
Roxana, I was like, "Well, why don't we start creating an album for that one and for Cheryl?" And before you knew, we had created like 3 different albums. I had artists from Zimbabwe to work on
Wow.
Cheryl's, from Nigeria as well, because the characters in there their heritage is from Nigeria, right? And then I had American singer-songwriters as well, and I am very close to my spirituality, my faith in God, and I always wanted to find a way to pay homage to my religion and to my faith. God and I don't always get along. He's like like a dad or whatever that I
Yeah.
argue with, and sometimes I'm like, "Thank you, God, you prevented this from happening," when I kept saying, "Why not now? Why aren't you doing things for me now?" And then I realized later on that it was meant to be that way because it brought something else for me. But I've never been able to truly say how I feel about my faith, and I know a lot of people don't feel positive about God. I have a
Mhm.
song called "God as a Nemesis" because people will use God as a nemesis, as a weapon, and I can understand why people lose faith in any kind of spirituality. So that is very heavily a religious album, but it's got hip
Mm.
hop music in it, it's got a R&B feel, and it's got our people from Nigeria, the
I
motherland, you
love
know what I mean,
that.
from Africa.
Yeah.
Mhm. And then the R&B is really heavy 'cause the book is heavy. So, I'm glad you like it, but there's a lotta
Yeah.
deep emotional songs, her talking about being sober, talking about her mother,
Yes.
"You're the bad habit," you don't even realize you're a bad habit. That comes from my codependency relationship with my mother as well. So Roxana was hard to write,
Mm.
this year, but I did it, and that music, Chantel Soleil, thank God for her. She really took all of my concepts and created those songs for me. Yeah.
Wow. I just like I said, the fact that this went from an idea and it's a full album and it sounds so good. It's
Thank you.
really good. And I like things that make me feel something. So I know you said it's heavy, but that's like it makes you feel something. It's
Yeah,
good. I just
yeah.
want to give you props, like for real. Great, the just the creativity and the vision for that and how it came together, so now I'm gonna go listen to the other albums,
Okay.
okay? Yeah, Imma report back, I'll let you know. I'm
Okay,
gonna go
thank
listen, yeah, and Imma do the immersive reading, listen to it and read it and see so I can see your, creativity and your artwork come together. But
Yeah, I
props
appreciate it.
on that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So you mentioned you were working in corporate. How did you juggle a full-time corporate job and writing? I'm curious because a lot of people out here, juggling multiple responsibilities. How did you do that?
I'm still doing it, and
Okay.
it's been crazy. I think for me, I've always been hyper, even as a child. And my mother took me off of vitamins and stuff. She'd give you those, the Flintstone
Yeah.
vitamins, and she was like, "Girl, you don't need all that. You just sit down." So I was always just always, up and at it all the time, and I'm still like that, but I'm older, so when I overdo it, I tend to, like recently I took 5 days, I just slept. I couldn't do anything, I couldn't eat or anything because I
Mm,
had just put so much pressure on myself to do various things, but my mind is always churning. I'm creative. I love music. I love, movies. That's how my mother raised me. I mean, she put a book in my hand. She read to me as a kid. And then you mentioned on your episode about being careful about, the exposure children have to certain
yes.
literature. Well, my mother exposed me to romance novels when I was, like, 10, so, um, probably wasn't a good idea, and, I'm nosy. I used to when I'm a latchkey kid, right? I was a latchkey kid, so for you guys that don't know what the latchkey kid is
Very
when you
Gen
stay
X.
yeah, you just stay at home and your parents are gone and you're staying in the house by yourself, you're taking care of yourself. So, I'm saying all that to say because I like music, because I was raised to read a lot of books and watch movies, everything I do when I write, I'm envisioning it as a film, a movie, and a movie
Mm,
has a score, right? It has a soundtrack, it has music, and so I wanted to be able to continue to try to incorporate those things into my books. So how did I do it? I worked for a company that they didn't really utilize me very much, and when I don't have to work, then I start finding other work. Most people would be like, "Shoot, that's sweet. You got money, you work from home, you didn't have to really work." I just
yeah.
would have been chilling. No, I was building books and building albums and connecting with different artists, building websites. I have websites for all 3 of those, artists. So for Diamond Stud, Cheryl, they all have the immersive experience of their own websites
Wow.
as if they were real entertainers. But that's how I did that. But then last year, I decided I wanted to help other authors, and I built QR books with my partner, and so we started doing that. Plus, I was, writing 3 and 4 books for the year, and I was doing all this extra promotion and stuff, and like I said, at one point, for 5 days straight, I couldn't get up because I had just overdone it. But I still do it now, like, I just spent the whole day doing some
Wow.
errands, but also working on Ain't Too Old to Grind and the Substack you and I are gonna talk about
Mhm.
for the ARC readers as well. But I can tell you a laundry list of things I do, and I work a full-time job that this time is very busy. So I
Wow.
don't get very much sleep, and I get up very early, at 4:45 most of the time to go down to our basement gym, work out, and then start my day at this in this office space working on my honestly publishing stuff, then get on the work schedule and start working from home. And then in the evenings, I work until to the night working on honestly publishing stuff and then go to bed. And then it repeats. And then the weekends, work, work, work for honestly publishing and stuff like that. And trying to spend time with my family. That's,
Look,
that's how I
I
do it.
understand. Look, one thing this podcast has showed me is
Mhm.
how easy people make things look, and then when you get into it and you, like, see, like, how much work it really goes into it, so, juggling all of this with a full-time job and just everything that's going on. I am also a newlywed. I
Oh,
overrelate to what you're telling me. You just
yes.
listed a laundry list of things that you are juggling while you're
Mhm.
building your business and your brand and writing your books. How do you practice self-care? Like, within that, what are some of the things that you do to make sure that you stay mentally strong while you're juggling all of these things?
Well, honestly, I'm not always mentally strong, and
Okay.
I don't hide from that even on social media. Even when I was writing Roxana, I got on social media to say, "Hey, first of all, I wanna say I'm so sorry because I had not been putting content warnings in my books, but it was because I grew up on Harlequin. There was no such thing as a content warning. And then I realized I had traumatized myself, right, through writing Roxana. And so I got on and I started talking about it, and all of a sudden I started crying. So I don't hide from mental health issues. I have a therapist. I work out. Working out helps me because if I'm angry, I need something to physically release all that anger. And to be honest with you, the work that I do that doesn't feel always like work is the writing. That allows me that's therapy. And
Yes.
that's why I wanna share it because I feel like it's therapy to other people as well.
Yes, I agree. I agree. And, a lot of people channel their emotions and the things that they've been feeling and experiencing into their writing, and it's also a way to
Mhm,
release that. So it's
mhm.
very therapeutic. And then it's therapeutic for me to read it because I'm like, look, I thought I was alone. They didn't put trigger warnings in books in the past. I feel like the readers, y'all don't understand how different it is now. And like, I give you all props
Yes.
for like trying to cater to the readers and cater to our needs in this way because that isn't something that was done, historically. So,
Mm.
yeah.
It wasn't,
Mm-mm.
uh and sometimes, I find that readers, they really do want they're like, "It's so much going on in the world, I need something light." I'm not a light read at all. I mean, I have humor I infuse in my books for sure, but I really deal with serious topics as well, and it's not to the point where you're like, "Oh god, I feel like I'm traumatized by what you're saying, because I don't deal with a lot of, like, child abuse or anything like that, but I
Yeah.
do deal with issues that center around what we're dealing with, right? And whether it's racism or whether it is, codependency with your family or HIV. Like, who do you think would want to read a romance novel that's about an HIV positive character? But there are plenty of Black women out here who are HIV positive.
Yeah.
And they need to know that they can find love, right?
Yes.
And so that's why I created the character like that, to have her as a main character and have a non-HIV positive partner to fall in love with her, and talked about safe sex in that, talked about, how they could come together intimately. And that book has got a lot of sex in it. It's hot, but
Mhm.
it still, teaches you about safe sex and about toys and things like that. Sometimes people get creeped out by, "Oh, toys. I don't want toys in my book. Why do you gotta do that? Why do you need a toy? Why do you need a toy?" I'm like, you are
I like
missing
it
out,
all.
boo."
Bring me the straps, the
No,
vibrators, put all of it in the book.
yes. Right,
Okay.
but they're like, "Well, you got your partner." I'm like, "What? You can have toys as well." So, I've hit people, it's very controversial. Did I say I was controversial?
Yeah, you did.
It is. Some of
But,
my
but
a lot
people
of
get
my opinions.
inspiration. Yes, people get inspiration from the books.
Yeah.
You'll read a sex scene and be like, let me see if my partner wanna try this with me." Like, that's the whole purpose. Yeah,
Yeah.
so keep doing what you're doing. I feel like you're centering intersectionality, like, even in the Black Sapphic community, it's different intersections, people who are living
Mhm,
with, certain invisible illnesses and mental health issues and navigating addiction,
mhm.
and these stories are important and deserve to be shared and heard and read, so just thank you for doing that.
Yeah, you're welcome, you're welcome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, how can listeners and future readers, how can people find you? How can they learn more about your work?
They can go to, Honestly Publishing. I do have an online website, so onyxlee.pub. And then I'm also on social media under Aunt Georgia Lee, author Aunt Georgia Lee, and then also Honestly Publishing as well. You can definitely check me out there. And I'm going to be kicking off a Substack, but only to special arc readers such as you, Joy,
Thank you.
that will have access to it the first couple of weeks. But then I'll be opening it up to everybody else. So you'll be finding me on Substack as well.
Love it. Can you list for us some of your other pen names so people can go find more of your other books?
So yes, so I write under Shiley Campbell. And then I also write under S.O. Brow, and then, of course, I write under Aunt Georgia Lee, and eventually I'll be coming out with some new pen names in a couple of years as well.
Yes, we wanna support all of your books, okay? We gotta know where to find you.
Yeah,
I
thank
really
you.
enjoyed talking with you. This was a great conversation. Thank you so much. Is it anything else you'd like to share? You wanna kinda preview for us anything that's on the horizon that's coming up that we should look out for?
Definitely if you like the music, Joy, I think
Mhm.
you're gonna enjoy the music that has been created for Ain't Too Old to Grind too, because 'cause you've
Definitely.
got all those different characters from different age groups as well in interest, especially like the Fab Five, so the younger generation, as well as the elders, so I want to, let people know about that. Also the video edits that I've created to help them, envision the story as well. But, next year, I'm finishing 2 s no, 3 series. So, The Real Lesbians of Atlanta is coming to an end, the last book for that. For the My Day One series, that 3rd book with Diamond Stud, which will have more music behind that also. And then also my fantasy, which I tried my hand at writing fantasy, so The Sapphic
Nice.
Sojourners of Truth, that 3rd book will be coming to an end. You had mentioned you like vampires. I have
Mhm.
not vampires, but witches and werewomen in that series. So, yeah, so that's coming up in the future.
I'm sold. I like anything supernatural, so I'm very
Okay.
much yeah, so witches, women, all of it, make it gay, I'm here. It sounds like a good time to me.
Day. It's day
That's
all
what just
day.
that's what I'm talking about. That's all I want. I feel like our romance is underrepresented, and I'm gonna do what I can
True.
to support you all as authors so that y'all can keep writing the stories I wanna read. It's very selfish
Well,
endeavor. I wanna
good.
read
Thank you.
them,
I
so I need
appreciate
to
it.
help y'all so we can get them into the hands of the people who want them. So
That's not selfish at all. You don't realize how much we need your help. So I appreciate you a lot. Yes, I do.
look, I appreciate y'all and appreciate you for supporting me so that I can support you. It's mutual support. I've really enjoyed our conversation. And like I said, I will continue
Thank
to use my platform to amplify your work. And I'm just really grateful that you're telling these stories and centering people like myself in your books. Older women, diverse
mhm.
women, because even within the queer community, we're not a monolith. And I just appreciate you telling these
Yeah.
intersectional stories and amplifying these voices.
Well, you are most welcome. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for having me.